Hey everyone, welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Baka.
What up?
Those good enough eyes for you?
They are. I took a picture of them so I could keep them right next to my desk.
Yeah, weird. This is how
It's
today
better than
is
him
gonna
keeping
be.
a real set. It's better than him keeping a real set of eyes next to his desk. Come on now.
Well, I'll just wait for a little while longer before I get the real set.
I don't like this. Let's not. What games has everybody been playing this week?
Video games. Guess what? I've played WoW all week.
And
I
a
know.
little bit of Overwatch last
A
night.
little bit of Overwatch. Oh, I also played a little bit of Kingdom Come too.
How was that?
Fun, like always. It was. Since I'm recruited into the guard, I had to go on patrol with my mentor because he just walks you around and teaches you how to patrol and whatnot. Because this game is very hyper realistic. I mean, it is really. You got to make sure you eat, drink. You got to patrol. You got to handle people. Everybody hates you because you're a refugee and all this shit. And you're part of the guard because they're using you to try to keep the peace. I don't know, it's interesting. I need to get more into the game. I'm still at the very beginning, but it's such a long game. You could spend 6 hours and still be at the same place you started. Seriously, I had to. The last time that I played, I had to run around and try to find a bed to sleep in because I didn't have a bed, so I had to sleep on a cot outside the walls of the castle. I found some inside, but every time I would be sleeping, somebody would wake me up and be like, "Hey, that's my bed. You don't sleep there," and I'd have to go find somewhere else to sleep.
Aww.
Yeah. Yeah, I did
Next
that
time, take a
multiple
bed
times.
with you, dude. Jeez,
You
man.
can't.
There's no like sleeping bag option. I mean,
No.
it's not.
You have to sleep in a bed. You either pay for an inn to sleep in the bed, which is too expensive for me. I'm a poor motherfucker. Or you just use one of the poor cots. Because it's literally some sticks with some straw over top of it and some straw on the ground, and you sleep on that.
Aww.
Well, I mean, you
This isn't hyper realistic enough. You should be able to find a park bench and go to sleep on that.
A park bench.
Park bench. There are no
You
you
benches.
should be able to make a lean-to, man. Just go into the forest and make a lean-to. You got this shit.
I'll probably get fucking in trouble. Hey, you can't park here.
Oh.
Not parking.
I'm just gonna sleep in this tree and you get woken up by a bobcat that's like, "Hey, this my bed.
Probably.
I'm gonna eat your face now."
But yeah, I played that and Overwatch, a little bit of Overwatch, and a bunch of WoW. Made it to 42.
Yeah.
I like the universe and everything.
I played some Dragon Age because that's what I do with my life these days. So that's good. And I played some Red Dead, also good. Found some things I didn't expect. Tried to wake a guy up because I saw a body on my map. I was like, why did it mark this body? Because usually it only puts corpses on there for people you've killed. I was like, that guy's up above where I've been to. What is this? So I went to go see, and I was like, do I loot him or do I get bad guy points if I loot the dead guy that I didn't kill? Because sometimes that goes either way. It's hard to tell. I was like, I'm gonna loot him. So I went to go loot his pockets, and he grabbed my hand. I was so scared.
So
He was
went
not
dead?
dead yet. He died, but he handed me a letter and died. So not bad guy
Speaking of looting
points.
bodies, I got into a fight with a townsperson once in Kingdom Come, and I beat him up and knocked him out. And I was like, "Oh, cool! I wonder what he's got." And as soon as I went to loot him, I heard somebody go, "Oh my God, he's stealing!" And the fucking guards chased me down.
So it's fine
Beat the
that you
shit out of
beat
me.
somebody to unconsciousness.
I
but
know,
it's not
right in the
okay
middle
if
of
you-
town.
Yep.
Don't touch his pockets now. That's crossing the line, so I had to
It
restart.
says a lot about society in a
To be fair,
medieval
it's the same in
fantasy
Red
world.
Dead. There's times where you can like get into a bar brawl in Red Dead and beat everybody up, and once that's done, if you loot any of them, that's the bad guy points. You're like,
Yeah, don't loot them.
That's
You
why
can
I
beat 'em
said
up,
it's
but
hard
don't
to
loot
know
'em.
if you're gonna get bad guy points if you loot things in Red Dead, because there's no clear-cut answer of like loot these, don't loot these. Like they're all dead.
Did the guy start the fight with you, Chicken?
Yes, he was from previous, and I was like, "Hey," and he got all uppity with me, and he's like, "I'll beat your ass." I was like, "Fuck this shit!" I beat his ass, knocked him out, and I was. Then I learned real quick not to loot the bodies in town.
Okay, so that's probably why then, because it was one of those where it's allowed to beat the guy that started the fight, right? So self-defense.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but you can't steal from him afterwards.
Exactly. There's laws in the game that you actually have to follow. I just remember that when she was saying
body out of sight.
Oh yeah. Hey, what are you doing with that body? Nothing.
He started it.
To the doctor.
He fell asleep. I was finding a bed for him.
my friend. I'm taking him to that bed that we totally own over there.
That's too funny.
But yeah, that reminded me of that experience I had. It was kind of funny.
How many times in games like that, like, do you ever think about the NPCs? Like, you left a body on the ground and walked away from it. Like, the person that stumbles upon that next is scarred for life. I mean, just think about it for a minute. Because I had a guy, there was a dude that rode up to me on a horse, and he fell off the horse and died, and the horse wandered off, and I was like, I don't know what happened. Was I supposed to say, oh, whatever, he's in the middle of the road, so I was like, I'll just pick him up and put him in this cornfield. And so I put him down in the cornfield, got on my horse, and I was like, you know, whoever comes to work this field next is really gonna not like that. Like, I feel bad
I always think of Assassin's Creed because I keep thinking, how do they get more guards?
Yeah.
Because I've killed every fucking guard they've got.
How do they recruit
Nobody should
people?
ever want this job ever again.
Exactly.
They're magical guards. They just keep randomly appearing.
Or the amount of people that you put into haystacks around town. Like, you'd think after finding the first few bodies in haystacks, they'd be like, no more stacks of hay. There's a serial killer out there, and this is where they dump the bodies. We need to eliminate this. But no, they never change. They're like, whatever. They're
not haystacks anymore. They're just body stacks at that point.
Right?
Yay, let's jump
Which
into
theoretically, what if they added that element to the game? So, like, let's say you have 4 dead bodies in one haystack. You can't dive into that haystack anymore because then there's nothing to break your fall other than the bodies that would hurt, right?
Yeah, it's full.
So
you just soften them up, make them mush a little bit, take your hammer and, you know.
I mean, but how many bodies can you realistically put into a haystack in an Assassin's Creed game? I'm thinking like Assassin's Creed 2, because I mean, I know you can just toss them into like the hay carts. So how many bodies can you toss in there? Is it an infinite amount? Is it like a bag of holding underneath the hay?
You could just keep doing it in the game, in the game world. It's like there's it's like there's a door to Narnia on the other side of this haystack.
You don't need any realism for this. Let me just stack all of these 18 bodies in this tiny haystack. Nobody will ever find them, and then I'm going to go to the top of this building, jump off on top of them, just to assert my dominance or something. If real world physics applied. Speaking of which, I came to the camp to put my horse up and go talk to some people, and there was one tree. I'm at this little shack in the swamp, and there's this one tree next to where I tethered my horse. All the other horses in the camp were on the tree. I'm not talking like they were gathered around it like some cult horse meeting. I'm talking like they were defying physics on the tree.
Tell me that they were all stacked.
No,
stacking
they
horses.
were all they were on top of each other, but they weren't like stacked up. They were stacked wide and on the tree. I'm like, that's not how physics work. Any of you horses?
They using some Minecraft physics up in this place.
And they were all crying too. They were like making their little whinny noises, and I was like, is it because you know that this is wrong on some level? Like, is that why you're upset? Because this is wrong. So
this
weird.
should not happen this way. Why?
Like a horse tree. It attracts all of the horses and then allows them to defy gravity and physics. Whatever. What about you, Oak? What have you been playing?
Lots of Minecraft, of course. Played lots of it. I decided to go off and explore the world a little bit from the area that we were at, and I got lost.
What?
I know, right? At least the
would
coordinates
expect
were there. The coordinates aren't there on default, which is stupid to me. Like, games, if you are that big, to where you're 10 times the size of our planet, please put coordinates. It just makes more sense to do that. So luckily, we do have coordinates in our realm.
Like it's just like WoW's a huge thing, and it doesn't default have coordinates.
Yeah, I know.
Either.
It doesn't have fucking
that.
coordinates.
Yeah, please stop doing that, game makers. Like, I get it if you're like, okay, you need to we'll make a device for you like Ark does. You know, you have to
Terraria
build a
does
device.
the same thing. You can get a depth meter and things like that that'll tell you where you're at.
Yeah.
But you can craft.
Yeah, they have a bunch of stuff in there, like a GPS, the depth meter, the compass and all
Yeah,
that
I'm
shit.
totally fine if you want me to make it, like you said. Like with Minecraft,
Right.
that would be totally believable. Build the thing that will tell you where you're at, but don't just not have
Right.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing is like, it was crazy. So like, I started to explore, and I got to a ship, like a little pirate ship, and I was like, oh, this is cool, you know. And I went down. I got a treasure map, and I just kept swimming. I was not Nemo. What's her name? Dory for a little while. I just kept swimming, and and I got on to a few different islands, some really cool islands, and I was like, oh, these are neat. And then I realized that you could make snowballs on the snow ones, and that was fun because you can just throw snowballs. And so I
But you
would
were
just
there
pick
by
up snowballs
yourself.
and throw them.
They're like the most one-sided snowball fight ever.
Not really, because there's bad guys in the game. So you know,
So you're throwing
I'm
snowballs at the bad guy.
Are they really bad guys, or are they just the inhabitants of this world that you're picking on?
No, they're really bad guys. At night, like creepers and a bunch of other bad guys kind of show up.
Maybe
so
they just
like,
live here and
they're-
they're mad that you're
Yeah, I was
here.
gonna say they're like wolves. It's not their fault that you come and build a house in their territory and then threaten to beat them up.
technically, they will attack you no matter where you are. So, yes, it's okay.
Hey, bears will do the same.
Some of them are zombies. Thank you very much.
Hey, zombies are people too.
Yeah, I hear you.
They need food
So,
just like everybody else.
I
Zombie
found this
rights.
village. You know, I'd gotten really far, found this village, and I have this habit of making sure that I sleep in order to be able to make the realm. If you're in there by yourself, or you've got a group that's there and they can all do it at the same time, you all get into bed, and it goes from nighttime to daytime to kind of help you out a little bit so you can see. But it also resets your spawn point to wherever it was you did that. So I was really, really, really far away from home, and just out of habit decided to do that, and then I had to find my way back.
Damn.
So I was like, well, I've gone this far, might as well keep going. So I just kept going and explored the world a little bit.
Why not?
Right, explored the world a little bit. It was kind of fun. But I finally made it home. It only took me like 2 hours to make it home.
Two real-time hours.
No, the worst part was I was like right at, I could see my house.
Almost
And I fell in this
victory.
pit that's near my house into a pit of water that for some reason at night the zombies just fall into. So I was
You made a zombie mode and forgot about it, and then
Zombie
fell
pit.
in with
Right.
the zombie mode and made the Pikachu face.
Yes, and so I was like, and I was like, I gotta get out. I couldn't get out, and I died right there. So I was looking at my house and completely died.
And it put you back at your old spawn point, which
in
was out in the middle of nowhere, didn't it?
Yep, sure did. So I made sure that when I got back, the next time that didn't happen, I was so mad though when that shit happened. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh my god.
So yeah, and there's no fast travel in the game, so it's like okay. And then while I was away for I think it was Wednesday night, it was my day off from streaming. One of my friends, as part of the realm, he and I had talked about making a glass tube and putting a minecart in it, like the whole rail and everything. Well, he did that live on his stream while I was gone or whatever. So I showed back up on like Thursday or Friday back into it, and I went, "Why do I have our track?" Because we had this like whole track that went around, and then I looked down into the water, and you could just see the track underwater with just a little bit of an outline that was there. I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" So I just followed it through. That was pretty fun. And then I found out that there's underwater torches called sea pickles. So I picked up a bunch of sea pickles
You want to
in order to light up the tube underwater. But the so that part was fun. And then I played Greedfall, and Greedfall is an interesting beast as we go on. Like some of the characters I really like, but some of the decisions for the town folk, I'm like, why am I having to come back to here? Why am I having to go back to here? Like it's like it's one of those where they go, okay, we need you to go on this quest. Go talk to this person. So you go to talk to that person, and they send you on another quest. And then
a lot of back and
you get the
forth.
other way, and it's like, and I'm like, please stop. Just send me on one quest. Tell me where I need to go, and make me go back home. Or maybe every once in a while do this, but not for every fucking one of them. But I ended up just exploring the world a little bit, and ended up on this guy that was a boss fight of some sort. like a little mini boss. Well, he was not mini, but it was a mini boss.
Okay.
And I had to fight him, and he was way over my character when it came to strength. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to use my fighting techniques and see if I can at least beat him. And I was able to beat him. It took forever. So when we finally got to the first mini boss I'm really supposed to be fighting, based on what my character was, it took like no time whatsoever. And I was like, okay, well, evidently all you got to do is know how to fight, and you can beat some of these characters. So that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I don't know. Basically, the way that the plot line's set up, I want to know, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody if somebody's wanted to play the game. But I want to know if when you find out about the island you're on, if you already had predicted what it was, because I already had.
Okay.
And so like I'm like it was
see, now
just
I'm
kind of
gonna be
obvious
thinking
to me.
about it when I play. You totally ruined
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, you'll be fine. So I was trying not to say too much on that one, but yeah, it's good. Then you're only 10 hours into the game or 12 hours in the game when you figure it out. So it's not like
Only
it's
12 hours in. Man, that completes most games these days.
All right.
Well,
Call of Duty, you can beat the campaign in like 2.
Yeah, true.
So, but anyway, so that's what I did. I enjoyed it. Had a good time. That was it.
Okay. Well, you guys want to talk about some news? Because some of it ties into stuff that I played this week, but some of it doesn't. Some of it ties into things I will never play. That's not true. Well, whatever. I'll just talk about Dragon Age because I friggin' love it, and it's sort of in the news. So they're doing that stupid.
You found news for Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what you
it's
did.
something I heard about, and I don't know why it wasn't on the
Eurogamer?
why it
The
wasn't
site
on
that we
Eurogamer.
use
Yeah.
regularly.
But they're doing that stupid thing where they're like, hey, you know that game you played? Well, now we're going to make a comic book to bridge some stuff into the next game. You better read it because it's a comic book, and that's totally how you consumed the first part of this content. So, whatever. Dragon Age comic book that's going to focus on Fenris from Dragon Age 2 and takes you to Teventer, which is where everybody thinks the next game is going to be anyway. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, but it's pretty much, we're all pretty sure that's where we're going. But Fenris apparently has become something known as the Blue Wraith, and he's out killing folks. In Inquisition, it's mentioned that Fenris is out hunting Teventer slavers, because that was a thing that had happened to him in the past, and he wants to put an end to that, and I'm all for that. I mean, slaving is bad, so, you know. But I heard a rumor that he's also killing mages, and I think that that's a problem because there's a lot of character development, especially since you could have romanced him as a hawk in Dragon Age 2 that was a mage. Like, he had problems with mages. It's part of his backstory, but I think it's weird that he'd just be like, well, I know I love this mage and all, but I'm going to go kill them. Bye.
But do you think that that's part of the reason that they set it up this comic book is so you could, now you're going, but wait, you can't do that. That's not the canon that I'm used to. How are you going to justify this doing it? And they go, now I got to buy the comic in order to be able to figure out exactly how they justify it.
I don't think so. I think that it's one of those things where they're like, this is going to be a part of the story that we need to cover, but we're not going to cover it in-game. Because, as we know, BioWare has gotten incredibly lazy about some of the things that they're doing, and it just wants people to take their word for it, I guess. So, I guess that's kind of what's happening here with the comic. I'm just hoping that they don't... Like, I've only heard rumors about it being that Fenris is also known as the Mage Killer, and I really hope that's not the case. Like, he has a predilection to not like them, but you had an opportunity as Hawk to kind of change some of his thinking about it.
But if he's known as the Mage Killer, it is a possibility that it's not necessarily... It could have been he killed a mage that he personally had an issue with. Maybe that person was going out and killing other people or doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, and those people didn't know that was happening, and he did, and so therefore he got a name.
Well, he's also
in
Teventer, which, I mean, you can't, like, trip and not fall on, like, 30 mages right out of the gate, so... Right. I don't like the idea of trying to cover story content. If this ties into Dragon Age 4, I don't like trying to do it in a comic book. We've talked about it before, but I mean, I guess at least this one's kind of on... Yeah, I guess at least this one's kind of on the radar about it. I didn't even know there was a comic for Halo until like well after the fact.
I think the difference is though, like when you finished Halo, and then they had the Halo 4, and then they had a comic book to get to Halo 5. It was one of those where you expected Halo 5 to finish the storyline from Halo 4.
Yeah.
Where sounds to me like they're broadening the story a little bit in order to help you. And
like
you've had a storyline in between, right?
Yeah. Well,
so,
I mean, yeah, Inquisition was technically Dragon Age 3, and then this is Dragon Age 4 that it'll tie into. So yes, you're bridging the gap, and that's understandable. I just
because I'm fine with them expanding characters. I'm not okay with them continuing plot lines.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true.
Right?
I'll give you that one. And if this does a better job of setting up, because apparently you're going to deal with some Kunari that are in Teventer, which is kind of hinted at in the Trespasser DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition, which the Trespasser DLC really is the end of Inquisition. It's just that they sold it to you in a DLC, I guess.
Which I think is a little shitty. I mean, you
cut
off the end of the game.
I don't think, honestly, looking at it...
That could have been easily an epilogue.
Yeah, it could have been an epilogue, but I really think that they developed it after the fact, when they're like, we're going to need DLC. Okay, well, I guess we should get to work on that, and that's one of the things
that's a good and a bad thing, because one, that means that their storyline that they have going, they're just making it up as they go, because most games...
I would say that some of it they are.
Because, like Blizzard, their World of Warcraft, they've already got 3 expansions laid out before this one hits. They've got so much content and stories that they're doing so far ahead of the line that they've always got their story cohesive and going. Yeah. Where, I mean, it's like, oh, yeah, I got an idea, let's just make this.
I think that's why it's taking so long to get to Dragon Age 4, is because you do have so many things where they're like, well, we kind of let some of this just fly by the seat of our pants, and now we really have to figure out how we can go, okay, well, in Dragon Age Origins, you made this choice, and it affects these things. Now, how can we tie that in a cohesive way to things that we want to happen in 4? You know? Because that's what they've been running with, is that you can create your whole story from start to current. So I think we're getting to the point where there's so many threads at the end that you could have picked. They're having trouble like tying those back together.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. Their story is so convoluted, they're having a hard time keeping it straight.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, Dragon Age 4, there's no even hint of a release date or anything. You got the barest tease.
I'm guessing 2021.
Yeah, maybe. I
think we'll start seeing more about it, especially since Anthem dropped so hard. They just got rid of everybody and moved them over to Dragon Age 4.
Yeah, because I mean, Dragon Age is the last thing that company has going for them right now. So they really have better put everybody on it and get everybody, management down agreeing on things, instead of it being the mess that was Anthem or Mass Effect Andromeda.
Well, and I think they need to
microtransactions in it.
They need to focus. They need to go back and focus on what they do best, which is a giant RPG single player game.
Yes.
That's what you do best. You create great characters.
Well, I mean, they did that with Mass Effect. They had that opportunity to focus on just the single player side of it, because it didn't have a multiplayer component to it when it came out, and wasn't going to. Mm-hmm. I mean, not out of the gate, but
I really don't see why they just don't get them to do another KOTOR game, because I mean, EA has the rights for the Star Wars games anyways.
Yeah, well, they're too busy doing the multiplayer Battlefront stuff that they're doing, so they're not worried about it.
Honestly, I'm thinking about it, because one, if they make another KOTOR game, they want to fill it with microtransactions, and they have to share the profits to Disney. If they make their own games, their own IPs, everything made from it is theirs. So why put a bunch of resources into something you're only going to get half back?
Yeah. Well, and the problem, too, is there's such a push in the market for everything to be multiplayer now, that I'm sure they're trying to figure out how to shoehorn a heavy multiplayer online aspect into Dragon Age 4 as well, because how else are they going to make money off of it? If that's the problem with single player games these days, is they're not as profitable as online, so you don't get as much for them. So, I mean, and it sucks, because people all day, every day will buy single-player campaigns. All 4 of us right here would probably rather buy a single-player campaign game than half the multiplayer crap that's out right now.
Yes.
But it's a one-time buy, and we're not the ones that are spending $350 on Fortnite cosmetics and stupid things like that.
Well, and multiplayer becomes like when I can sit down and play a single player game, it's one of those where you can go, okay, I know I've got an hour of my time today or an hour and a half of my time today to be able to run a quest or be able to do something inside of a single player game or something like that. Where with, and I'm talking about the average person, not somebody that streams or plays games as often as we have to, but like for the average person, because they are busy, and it allows them for that hour and a half that they know they can sit down and be able to play. When you're playing a multiplayer game, unless you're playing something that's a BR, where every 15 minutes you might be starting a new game because of the way these games are designed, which I think is why they're so popular. With a regular multiplayer game, you're getting involved, you're talking to your friends, you're playing a game or whatever. Sea of Thieves, there's no hour and a half. There's none. It's going to take you an hour and a half to get to where you need to go and start and do what you need to just to go off. So it's 4 to 5 hours when you're playing games like that. So I think that's why single player is so important, especially with an RPG, because I think with an RPG, the way those games are designed is, okay, I can just revisit this as many times as I want to and just continue to build my character. I'm attached to them. Oh, I've got a day off today. Let me go ahead and spend 5 or 6 hours playing the game. And I know I'm not going to be done with the game.
But I mean, I think that part of it too is the attention span. Like that's one of the reasons that YouTube is so popular, is because you can get in and your content that you're consuming is these like little small chunks. You're spending 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You're not committing to the half hour that a TV show would be. It's the same thing with games. And that's why the multiplayer stuff is so popular, because like you said, every 10 to 15 minutes you're loading up a new match. You're in and out. You don't have to focus or put any sort of mental effort on spending time with one thing. You're just constantly in and out, and that's it. So I think that factors into it as well. It's because we're training ourselves to consume content in a smaller, shorter time span.
It's kind of on the same subject, I guess. Do you think, because of the fact that, think of kids now, they're playing games that they are having 10 to 15 minute multiplayer games. They're playing Fortnite. They're playing games like that. And they're not getting the narratives that we grew up with when we were playing video games. Do you think that's going to affect their imagination in some way?
Maybe.
Absolutely. I think the internet has really helped destroy imagination, because you don't have to ever think about making something up. If you just find something to entertain you.
Yeah.
You're never alone with your own thoughts to create something. You're just, except for the people that are hyper creative.
It's different if you were going to sit down and read a book for 2 hours versus spending 2 hours on YouTube watching like 37 15-minute clips, or whatever.
Right.
It is a little different, but I guess that's where we're at. And even now, like with the single player story games, you're not getting the quality content that you used to with them. And I guess it's because it's got to be dumbed down for mass consumption, where people aren't going to feel like they're not smart enough to play it. And you're not patronizing them with having to figure out all of these things. You're just like, here's the story. Look at these bright colors.
Well, this will transition into a couple of our articles.
Cool.
We're talking about companies who just focus on multiplayer and whatnot. Rockstar does it perfectly, in my opinion, where they create, in GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption, they create these huge, massive single-player stories. And like we've said, they're one-and-dones. Some people like to play them multiple times, too, but most people just like to one-and-done them and then move on. Well, the trick is that they have such a huge online component that they just, once you're done with the game, you just get sucked into the online, and then
that's what they want
stuck.
you to do, is get
most
sucked
people,
into the online.
Most people get sucked into the online because they want more of that world, and there's no plans for any Red Dead Redemption 2 DLC, which means the only way you're going to get your
Undead Nightmare?
No, the only way you're going to get your play from Red Dead is to play online. Anything new.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could just play the story over a bunch of times.
Anybody that's surprised that there's no DLC plans, story DLC plans for Red Dead, obviously didn't pay any attention to how they developed GTA 5. Once the main story, which they gave you this big, huge world full of stuff, once the main story was launched and done with, that was it. Then they focused all of their efforts on the multiplayer. And that's what they're doing now with Red Dead, because everybody's talking about the Undead Nightmare coming out for this, which is the zombies and everything, but it's all going to be in the online, not in the single player. Like they've already said they're focusing all of their effort. But honestly, it's what we were talking about earlier. How do they make the most money out of it? You're not going to sell microtransactions in a Red Dead single player campaign. You're going to sell plenty of it in the online, which is what they're doing right now. It's what they're doing with GTA.
But the other argument for that too is, though, if you didn't have the online option, you've already made your money from Red Dead Redemption 2. And your online costs you money to run your servers, the employees, everything else, where you wouldn't have to have it. So where you could be developing another game instead of worrying about that. But
they make they make money hand over fist on that stuff. And that's part of it.
And that's the thing, is they're going to, and they kind of should. I mean, they need to find... They've got a unique element right now, because you've got the amount of people that continue to buy GTA 5. Where these people are, I don't know.
Yeah, like
for some reason, it's still on the top 10 list for like every country, and so they continue to buy the game over and over again. You've got streamers that are doing the role playing versions of GTA, and so people are watching that. You've got people that are involved in that, and now you've got Red Dead Redemption 2 that's got an online base, set in a different style of world, that they can do the same thing. If I would not be surprised at all if two things happen. One, we get a new bully game, and with the new bully game, you're now in school for online, and people are doing that.
I don't
and then
want
the other
that.
thing is they create. Think of it as Westworld, where you had a Western version of the world, you had a ancient Japan version of the world, and all that. All they got to do is create a bunch of really good plot line, storyline, and put it online with it, and that they're becoming the real life Westworld, except we're all online instead of actually there. So it's just, think about it for a minute.
I just wish they would open up their portfolio a little more than just GTA and Red Dead Online. That's it. Like that's the only thing that company does.
He expects a bully game to be out at some point, but I mean,
I think bully will do it.
Maybe another Manhunt, but.
I really think that's going to be... But they've got two genres that people are looking for, I guess. One is, because Red Dead was such a huge hit, the cowboys are always going to have a draw. They've got your contemporary city stuff in GTA. All they need now is something that's futuristic or alien, and they've got pretty much everything covered.
Or really ancient.
Yeah.
Like something that's, I mean,
I
whether
don't
you're...
know how well you would do going back super far, because you got Red Dead. Part of the draw of the Red Dead is guns, obviously. You get ponies and guns.
I would argue ancient
Creed.
Japan. No, I think you go to ancient Japan. If you went to that, I feel there's people that would do role playing on that and enjoy the hell out of that.
The problem with any sword based game is that you got to make the sword play feel good, and it is so hard to really nail it down.
I think For Honor did a really good job on doing that, though. I think For Honor did,
but that's more of like it's really good one-on-one. But
I don't see Rockstar developing that.
Yeah,
no, I feel like Rockstar is more, 20th, 21st century and beyond. I don't foresee them going back any older than that. There are companies that are doing that. I mean, Ubisoft is a good one to look at for if you want older stuff. Their Assassin's Creed stuff for Odyssey and everything was really well done. They did For Honor, which is, the sword play you're talking about. So I don't see Rockstar doing that. I could see Ubisoft attempting that, but...
It'd be interesting to see. Now that they have their own client, anything's really possible. Because they've got to expand that portfolio to support that client.
Yeah, but I think that they know who their core audience is, too, which is going to be people that are looking for gunplay more than swordplay.
Yes.
They can even go into, like, space and
lasers.
Planet hop. Yeah.
But, I mean, that's what I'm saying, though, is they've got Wild West, they've got contemporary, they just need a future. There you go. Although the future niche will probably be filled for a little while by Cyberpunk when that comes out.
Oh, hell yeah.
So...
they will not be able to tap into that when Cyberpunk comes out. Well, maybe for an online part of it, because I don't think Cyberpunk is going to have an online aspect.
Definitely not one you can do role-playing and stuff in.
I think they said they were working on it, but they weren't prioritizing it. Like, when it launches, it will not have an online component.
Okay.
So do similar to, hey, buy our single-player game and then...
And then we'll see how you guys like it, and we'll make it online for you.
Right.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
Oh, what else do we want to talk about? since I hijacked us with Red Dead and GT or the Dragon
Well,
Age.
I transitioned this into that. A game that it's a new mobile game. Well, not a new mobile game, but it's been popping up everywhere, and I can't believe it. But Mario Kart Tour has come out for mobile, and it requires a subscription to play.
Which doesn't make any sense. I mean, especially because it's
don't-
a $5 monthly subscription. Isn't it monthly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, $5
Which is-
every month.
Option.
Yeah, it says one go to the. I'm trying to read the thing.
Oh,
that's
lets
on
you
here.
unlock gold cosmetic items and grants access to the 200cc level races. It feels
Does not
particularly
say it.
meager offering for such a high cost.
You can do. It has a 2-week free trial that's added to it. Like so after 2 weeks, you're starting to get charged $4.99 a month. So $60 a year.
The
Just to
subscription
play
does not
200cc?
grant access to characters, carts, or gliders. Huh.
So
Because those
no-
are all part of the microtransaction system. Why would you get access to that? Just because you're paying $4.99, you still gotta pay for that microtransaction. Wow.
Do you have to pay to race? Does each race cost
Surely not.
rupees?
I wouldn't think so.
I actually,
Yeah.
I could see you having to earn in-game currency and spend it to play races. Else, how would
Because
they
they
make you
did the
wait
same
and
thing
come
with
back?
Super Mario Run. You could only do so many.
Yeah, that's
No,
right.
you just paid $10 even though for it, and you were done. That was it.
True.
It was a flat fee, that's my whole thing. Is like if you turn around and you go, okay, here's $20, and I get to play Mario Kart Tour. Okay, done. I'd be fine with that. I mean, not $20 for a mobile game, but if you take $10, you know what I mean. So it's like it's not a horrible thing. But but $60 for an entire year is ridiculous.
So you
Unless
can-
they're
Yeah, for a mobile game is ridiculous.
yeah.
That's not even counting all the cars or anything else that you have to buy. I just think it's weird. I think Nintendo has like an entirely separate office that are just kind of in their mobile world, and they're not really asking.
But they subcontract out the mobile stuff, don't they? Didn't
Yeah,
it?
I
That
think
one
so.
thing they do. So maybe that's
Yeah,
part
but
of
they
it.
would still get final say on a lot of that stuff.
True, but I think Nintendo is literally just so far out of the mobile world that they don't even bother like learning what the ins
But
and
then
outs
that's,
are. They
that's
just
still
focus on the
them.
Switch.
It still makes them just as shitty as everybody else that does mobile bullshit. It just means that they're shitty because they ignored it instead of checking into how their product is being handled.
I feel it's more like them licensing the rights to Mario and all that to it than it is
Yeah.
anything else. Like I think it's them licensing it over and knowing they're getting a cut from whatever's there, like they did with Pokemon, because they did the
Yeah.
same thing with Pokemon Go, and there's microtransactions that are built into the game and all that. You don't have to have them in order to be able to play the game. So hopefully you don't have to have it in order to be able to play this, and it's just built like a regular mobile game. That's the mobile landscape anyway. It's interesting to me. I think it's interesting to me is because it's like it's the same. Like they say in the article, it's priced the same as Apple Arcade, but I'm getting multiple games for Apple Arcade, not just one.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's priced the same as Apple Arcade, but this is one game and I get multiples. I don't understand. It makes no sense to me, but I don't know. I just think it's felt weird, Nintendo being on phones anyway. I know people wanted it, but it just feels weird.
Hey, if you want it on mobile, just play it on your damn Switch. It's about as big as your phone these days anyway. Just carry it
If you get the
around
Lite,
in your
it really
fucking
is.
pocket. Yeah,
If you get the Lite, it really is the same size as my phone.
and Mario
screen.
Kart 8 is so much better than Tour. I mean, just why I don't know why you would choose that, which is part of why I think Nintendo is just like, I don't care. Just do whatever. You can bring us a cut back. I don't care. You guys, mobile games are shitty, but we have to have a mobile presence.
I guess maybe the only problem that they have on there will lead into another one of our news stories that we have here, which is the Nintendo Switch Lite. The users that are being affected right now by the Joy-Con shift is they've actually got a mass lawsuit that's going on right now, class action lawsuit. That game, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the system's only been out about 2 weeks. So there's a lawyer sitting on somewhere on standby, waiting for it to leave Japan, come to the U.S. and go, let's make it happen. Let's get the
Let's do
lawsuit.
it now.
For those that aren't aware of how that drifting works, is basically if you've ever played a video game on a controller, over time what ends up happening is usually one of the sticks ends up drifting your character one direction or another. So what's happening on the Joy-Con is it's happening with just a few hours, and it was something they knew about ahead of time.
Oh, it's 10 days. The Switch Lite premiered on the 20th.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's like, there you go. Within 10 days, we have a class action lawsuit.
Yeah, I'd say that's
So-
effective.
It is a defective mechanical issue that they did not address before they released the Switch. And I understand that you could take the little Joy-Cons off and fix them, send them back and fix them for free, but you can't do that with the Switch Lite. I mean,
Yeah, you have to send the whole thing.
one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that they'll probably reset everything in the process.
Yep. So
Yep,
I mean,
part of it.
they need to. They need to fix this. But to be fair, I will say at least this is the biggest issue Nintendo is dealing with. I would much rather them have to deal with a Joy-Con mechanical issue than, something horrible and whatnot.
For sure.
But
I think
batteries exploding.
Yeah. Woo, our phone's exploding, catching fire.
Yeah, I think that the interesting thing to me is the fact that they were like, is that people were like, when they said Nintendo of Japan refuses to acknowledge the issue, so of course they didn't fix it. And then Nintendo's UK spokesperson said, at Nintendo, we have great pride in creating quality products, and we are continually making improvements to them. We are aware of recent reports of some Joy-Con controllers that are not responding correctly. We want our consumers to have fun with Nintendo Switch, and anything falls short of this goal, we always encourage them to visit our website so we can help. So I think that's to me, it's like if Japan is not saying anything, but the UK people are, and the US people might be as well. Let's get it taken care of. Come on, Nintendo. I mean, I think that's one of those things. To be honest, what I would do is I would say, look, we've got a cloud-based system now because they have cloud save now. As long as you're paying the $20, go ahead and pay your $20 for the year. Have your cloud save as long as it's for certain games, and then just say, send me that, and we'll send you a brand new one that's already fixed. So fix your problem at home, and then just send you the brand new one. What color is yours? Yellow? Cool. We've got that here. Doop, doop. Done. That way you're not waiting on it to be repaired, and you have it within, a week's time of sending it out. So theoretically.
Yeah, theoretically.
Yeah,
They just need to fix it, okay? Nintendo, please. You've been on a great track. Fix your damn drift. You know it's a problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of is not, obviously it's not as severe as the Xbox 360's Red Ring, but it's one of those things where it was a mass thing that affected a lot of consoles, and Microsoft had to scramble to fix it on their side, in the next set, the next wave of 360s that came out. But they also really did a good job of, handling replacements for those. Things like that. They acknowledged the problem. Nintendo is not acknowledging.
Well, they have. That's why they allowed everybody to return their Joy-Cons for free to fix them.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is, though, they didn't do anything to fix them in the production side.
They didn't do anything. Well, honestly, I feel like they probably had a shitload of Switch Lites already produced before they even... Then they had to make a choice whether it was going to be
the wrong choice.
Fix them all. Yeah, they made the wrong choice.
Well, and the class action lawsuit, I just read further into it just to double check. This actually stems from back in July when the one for the regular Switch started, and then these people have just been added to that. So,
okay, good.
But again, if you're able to replace it for free on the other one, it's kind of interesting that there's a class action lawsuit on there if they swapped them out that easy. Of course, I think you could go to your retailers and just say, hey, if they bring it in with a receipt, go ahead and swap it out or whatever. All you'd have to do is bring your Nintendo Switch receipt or the Joy-Con receipt if you just got a new one and just swap it out that way. And then anything past that would be, past a certain time period, would end up being to where you just send those in, they send you the other ones back. So I don't own multiples anyway. I only own the ones that are on the two Switches that we have in the house. It's the only ones I have. So I've been very fortunate, I guess, and not had that as an option. It was just a loose wire, wasn't it? Because it wasn't something that was like at the very beginning when the game came out. There was just a loose wire on the inside that was part of the manufacturing process.
I think that was a different issue with it not registering the motion.
Oh yeah, the motion.
It was the motion. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I
think
couldn't
that was
remember.
a different issue.
The drifting, the drifting's, they're totally different.
Yeah, it's something to do with the mechanical part underneath, where
Interesting.
it wears out a lot faster than it should.
Well, what else? Like that we just come to a close and things. We're like, and that's we're done
And that
with
was the end of it. There was no real good segue for that. So.
No, sometimes there's not.
Yep. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which we know is coming out soon, is in the news again for some more controversy because Sony has bought the exclusivity for the Spec Ops survival mode for 1 year. Game.
You know, so that way the Xbox people by the time they get it are like, well, the new game's out.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's one of the major things. Like, one, buying timed exclusivity at this point, not a good look. Sony, you've gotten backlash on this repeatedly this console generation. Why are you still doing it? But beyond that, the fact that Call of Duty would even be okay with that because, like Micah just said, you get a new game every year. By the time that part of the game comes to Xbox, nobody's going to be playing it because the new one's out. I mean, what's
the PC
point?
version also would not have it, right? It's completely
Right,
exclusive to PS4.
It's exclusive just to Sony, yeah. So
And see, that's the part that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I actually would rather, to me personally, if I'm looking at this, if I'm looking at it from a company standpoint, I'd want to sell more PC versions than anything else because it's on my own client. So you turn around and you go, oh, well, you know, let's put it on PC only for a little while, 3-4 months before I put it on the others. Like, I don't
but
understand
Sony pays. It's the same reason why people agree to the Epic Store exclusivity is because money.
But...
And with
Money makes
people
the
like
world go
Activision, there's never enough money. If they can make another extra $1, they'll pretty much sell their mom for it, you know?
Oh. I would never sell my mom for anything.
Well, I wouldn't either, but we're not Sony.
But you're also
and
not
Activision
named.
and,
You're not
know,
also named Activision. So.
They would sell anybody's mother for
Yes.
anything.
Activision's
got a
like,
penny
oh,
over
we can
there?
get
I'll let
another
you have this
$1.
one."
Oh, well, this isn't even our mom, but it's a mom from somebody. You want to take it? You know, like, not a great look. And I get it. It's a minor part of the whole thing. Like, the whole game is still coming out across the board.
Well, this is a pretty major part of the game because it works into the multiplayer and works into the
yeah,
single
but apparently it's just a 1% sliver that's not big enough of a deal. And if, like, my argument on that, because that was from the devs, they were like, it's a sliver of it, it's not even a big deal. If it's not a big deal, why is Sony paying that much for it?
Right?
It's not like they gave
Well,
you
I
a
mean, why
$1.50
can't you
and
just-
said, let us have this one thing. They paid you a significant amount of money to keep this to themselves. And if it's not a big deal for the whole game, why would they pay for it?
Here's my thing. Why not make it to where you can turn around and you can go, hey, you know what? I'll tell you what we'll do. Sony, you get your best designers to make skins for all of your weapons that here's your weapon and everything else. You make skins exclusive for that. And then go to Xbox and say, look, you pick designers to do the exact same thing. Then you say those skins are only available on those particular ones. You know, we had... It was one of the Soul Calibur games, I think, where one version of the game
Soul
you played
Calibur
as Yoda, and one version, yeah. So, like, just make it to where everyone can play the same fucking game, but if they want to look different because they're on a different console, that's fine because it's a cross-platform game. That's the most annoying part to me.
That Soul Calibur, like they made it to where they were both on the other consoles shortly after, anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was timed. So, but I think that the thing is you had it's a cross-platform game where right now PlayStation people are only going to be able to play survival mode with other PlayStation people.
Oh, what a better
It's
way
for
to
the
like
protection of their people,
if
though.
you could customize like your weapons and whatnot and your characters based on console and whatnot, the console wars that would go on inside those games would be crazy. Also, I can imagine the smack talk if you're a bunch of Xbox players, you got a PlayStation player on your team, you're like, get the fuck off my team, scrub. Oh,
right.
man.
Well, and you have like, and it'll be one of those where you have like the Activision artists or whatever, they create the Blizzard Activision artists, they create an entire thing and they go, all right, well, here's ours. Well, shit. Now you can if you did that, now you can actually cross promote your other products, Activision, by making one that has like, looks like World of Warcraft in some way. You know, like the colors for one direct, you know, either the Horde or the Alliance or whatever. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and now you're able to everybody have a great environment, a fun environment, and turn around and go, oh, that's cool. What's that guy playing? How do I get that? Oh, I have to be playing on PC. Well, shit, I'm buying this game on PC. Or, you know, nowadays a lot of people have more than one ways to play a game, and they want that option available to them. I think it's just asinine to cut in a complete part of the game out. And like Grif just said, protecting your players, basically, by having survival mode only in there because they can't play with anybody else. They're only playing with
Sony's
PlayStation
argument
people.
for why they didn't want cross-platform. You remember when that was
a
first in
terrible
discussion?
argument
They
for
were
the
like, "We're
record.
trying to protect our players. It's for the safety of our players." It's like, really? You have a problem with your PlayStation 4 base playing with the Nintendo crowd? Excuse me? Really?
Nintendo's more restrict for them on adding people and stuff.
No
Right?
shit.
And voice chat.
Yeah, but that was an old argument, and now I
Yeah.
guess they're just in a holding pattern. And of course, things like this always get people riled up about it and whatnot. So the developers are asking people to remember that they're a team of human beings at Infinity Ward because they're getting a lot of mud slung at them. And this was probably a choice that the developer did not make. This was a publisher level choice.
And they said in that one article that it was above their pay grade.
Yeah.
Whoever it was that made the decision was above their pay grade, which to me sounds Activision made the decision.
You should definitely look at
absolutely.
Activision for why this is a problem, not at an Infinity Ward. Basically, they made the product, and then Activision decided how they were going to slice it up. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's don't yell at the developers about it. They didn't make that call. It was somebody at Activision that said, how can we make infinitely more money? PlayStation will offer us cash. So, it's stupid. Don't be idiots on the internet is what I'm saying, okay? They're all people. No death threats. Don't be garbage. You can be mad.
No.
You're allowed to be as mad as you want. I'm not even going to play this game, and I think that that's just foolishness because it invites other companies to do the same for games that I probably will play. But I'm not gonna yell at the developer who didn't have any choice in the matter.
If you are gonna, here's a way to combat that too. If you're gonna play this game, buy it on something other than PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like if you go, I really want to play this game.
If you're really that upset about it, don't buy it at all. Don't give Activision any money. And I understand that that's again being like, well, you just said the developers didn't have anything to do. Yeah, but if you buy the game, Activision's gonna get a bigger cut of that money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those developers are getting paid regardless. Those developers are getting paid regardless.
Well, because they're part of a mass group, yes,
Yeah.
they're getting paid, whatever. But because they're part of Activision, yes, they're going to get paid. But that's the thing, though. Like, if there are going to be some of you that want to play this game, and you're going to play it over and over again, that's great. You love Call of Duty. Every time a Call of Duty comes out, you buy the Call of Duties. Like Grif said, if you don't want to put the money into that, don't buy the game. But if you do want to play the game, I recommend not playing it on Sony because if Sony paid money up front, it means there's guaranteed money in the pocket of make it worth that Sony doesn't want to pay that money anymore because they realize that it's a fucking mistake. Mm-hmm. You know, Xbox sells more copies than PlayStation does.
The problem
PC
is not going to happen because you've got people that buy their specific console, and PlayStation really did seem to win this generation, if they're, you know, you want to call it that. So there's more people playing on PlayStation that are not going to buy an Xbox necessarily just so they can play Call of Duty and show Sony. I mean, that's one of the downsides is Sony kind of knows they have their player base by the balls, essentially, for that one. There's not really... You either don't play it, or you have to sink enough money into buying another platform on which to play it.
Well, if you have an option.
Yes.
Do it.
If you have an option, yes, you should probably, you know, not do that. But there's going to be a lot of people who are strong Sony fanboys who are going to be like, I'm going to buy it on Sony because we get all the cool stuff first because our console makes money and we can pay for that. I don't know why they had to have that accent, but they did, you know? Okay. You just let it go. I'm the one making the voices here.
They're all secretly potholes.
Yes. But I mean, that's going to be some of the thinking. Is it's going to be my console is significantly better than your console because we get exclusive stuff like this, and it's like, well, but it's not. It just makes your console look like garbage, like the Epic Store, because they have to throw money at exclusivity deals in hopes of bettering their chances. So.
Yep. In other Sony news, we also have PlayStation Assist is going to be Sony's answer to Alexa and Cortana, they think. That is, somebody's found a patent on it. And the idea behind it is basically it would work similar to Cortana or Alexa, where you would or Google, where you would ask the question and be able to get an answer back from it, and be able to do it while you're playing games. And so it's kind of, if you think of the way Cortana was first started when it was first implemented in the Xbox, they're expanding upon that a little bit. So it's interesting to see how that one develops for sure. I think I feel like that's going to be a PlayStation 5 thing. I don't feel like they're going to put that on 4.
Yeah,
I
I feel like
can
it'll
see
be a
that.
PlayStation 5.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's a little late for PS4 at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially something like that.
yeah.
What are you
I
going
mean,
to
they
call
could,
it? Hey, PlayStation. I wonder if you could rename them all. Can you rename all of them?
I feel like you name a character, right? Alexa's, yes, you can.
I want to have, like, every one of the assistants, and I want to have them all named different things so that I can feel like I have friends. Be like, Barry, play Despacito. Okay, Cindy, play BTS. Like, I have friends. And they're all
Oh my
like,
God.
okay.
Or you could play one trivia game and have them all play together.
Or they, after a while, they start calling each other names and arguing.
Oh, God.
No, I would
But
cultivate them to be a happy friend group. I'll be like, Cindy, tell Barry a joke. And then Barry will laugh with a robot voice. Ha ha ha. That was funny. Then they'll start learning jokes from each other. It'll be great. Oh, wait, then I get kicked out of the
Barry, what you want to
I
know?
taught
what's
to
funny?
Barry
Your
today.
face.
Oh, man.
God.
See, come on. Get one of everything.
That's too
No,
funny.
they can still be mean that way to each other.
Well, if they're like my friend group, yeah, they would be.
Lord. Something that is a long time coming, and we yet to figure out why in the world it's taken this long why does it take so long for companies to do this? We don't know. But Fallout 76 public test server is on its way. Once
A year
Bethesda
after
figures
launch.
once Bethesda figures out how to do it, basically.
Test servers are usually something you want to have in place before you launch your game, so that you can test out new content
Especially if it's going
for
to be
your
an
game.
online-only game.
Yes, so that you can test out new content and make sure it doesn't break your live servers when it comes out. That's what test servers are for, friends.
It's just like, wow, I can't. It's very interesting to me that the amount of complaints they got from day one, they're just now going, oh, we should probably do this.
Yeah, here we are, a year and some time later.
Sometimes Bethesda just seems like that poor kid that doesn't understand things the way that everybody else does, and I just, like, they finally did the thing that was expected of them, right? Test servers. I just want to be like give them a piece of pie and be like, good job, you guys. Now go pat yourselves on the back and enjoy your pie. It's the, impeccable
They were
pie
really
from
honest
Fallout
when
4.
they said they've never done anything like this before,
Yeah,
so they have no
clearly.
idea what they're doing.
Clearly. Not to mention, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but the special orders for Fallout 76 that came with the helmet and the bag that wasn't the bag they were promised, so they've already had a problem with the bag. Yeah, the helmets might be contaminated with mold. So those are all being, there's a big thing going on with that right now.
It's a recall. They have a chance to develop mold. It's the fabric on the inside of the helmet. If any condensation gets in there, it grows pretty easily.
So they just didn't spray
I
it,
just
right?
can't win.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that has gone right with this at all. Fallout 76 has been a disaster train from start to finish.
Well,
That train left the station on fire and is still on fire.
I've never seen a game that is an actual meme in itself.
Yeah.
Like, I've never,
I mean, like, and
right?
you don't even have to try to be mean to Fallout 76. It does it on its own, you know? Like, it is that meme with the bicycle kid that sticks the stick in the spokes and then falls off. That is Bethesda right now with Fallout 76. They just keep doing it.
crazy to me. Oh well.
Whatever. At least they finally
I
got
can
one.
mention
I
that
guess.
kid with the stick now. That's hilarious.
You'll think about that every time you hear Bethesda.
Yes.
Look what I can do.
What else we got?
What else we got?
There's a new Batman game on the way.
Maybe.
Theoretically.
Done by the same people who did Origin.
Wasn't Origins the one that had some technical problems right out of the gate?
Yeah, it had a lot of
it?
issues
Okay.
right out of the gate.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure I was making the right mental
The
association.
least popular one out of the four.
Yes. The scary part is that Epic Games have given away 6 free Batman games on the store, and
Because look how much cash Epic has.
Gotham City in Fortnite. So I have a feeling that this one might be exclusive to
Surprise.
Epic Games.
Surprise.
I am so surprised. So many levels. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wow. But, I mean, I guess that's... If Warner Brothers... Warner Brothers has one of the largest libraries in the world when it comes to movies and television, and...
I don't think they would need the money.
Even they are taking Epic money, basically, is what that sounds like.
I think that they would have
Warner
to make
Brothers,
a special deal with them.
Warner Brothers could create their own client.
Yeah.
And put movies, television, and games on it.
Oh, you just made money. Somewhere's like, I got an idea. I'm gonna steal that
jeez.
one.
I mean,
they've
remember
already
when
got their own TV thing with the DC stuff. So
yeah,
true.
But I mean, it's like you've got when Steam was like selling the movies and TVs and pushing them in the front of their page, like you could literally do this with them and just have the game set up. Like it's just, I don't understand. You don't need the money. Take that money and put it to build your own client. And please don't, because I have enough clients. But you understand what I mean? Like you could just do that. There's enough on my screen already.
Have seen the internet and it's like, let's not tap into that market.
Or maybe it's just one of those where they're going, CBS has their own app, HBO has their app, HBO has 4 apps,
4 subscriptions.
Yeah, it's like what do we do? Should we do our own? I mean, it just unbelievable. If they end up taking the money on that one, I'm just surprised. I hope they don't. But I mean, to be fair, their last game that they released was Arkham Knight, right? And it ended up getting pulled from Steam because it was so garbage.
Yeah.
It ended up to be put
wasn't
back
that,
on.
Rocksteady, or was this the same company?
No, that was Rocksteady.
Yeah.
That was a different
I know,
one.
but it's still Warner Brothers.
Well, it's still Warner Brothers. This is just a different developer working on it, though.
Yeah, but their last 2 games that they released, they had issues with.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we'll find out. I mean, somebody in the comments said that, because somebody's like, well, what was Rocksteady doing instead of this? And somebody said that there's rumors that they were working on a Superman game. And I was like, yeah, I'm with the comment just below that. How boring would it be to be Superman in a game, because the only thing that can hurt you is...
Well, given the fact that Superman has never had a good game.
Well, how do you make a good game with a character that's literally invincible to everything except for one item? There's no tension.
You do it like they are doing One Punch Man. You make him the super character. He just comes in every now and then.
There you go.
The characters,
go.
the whole game is really about Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, but...
Yeah, you could pick one of them, go through the story, and when you get in trouble, like every stage, you can basically go through and okay, well, I'm going to call in Superman for this.
It's a hardcore story, like walking simulator type game, and nobody knows it because it's disguised as a Superman game, but Superman, you just push a button and he shows up, wrecks everybody, and leaves again, and you're like, okay, back to my investigation.
Anything would be better than Superman 64. I'm just saying.
Everything is better than Superman 64, is what you were trying to say.
Too funny. All right.
Anything else? Aquaman is just as bad.
I would play an Aquaman game, but because the setting would be amazing. It'd be like being in Rapture, only you have to be in the bubble of the city.
Play it on the original Xbox.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna fantasize about a game that makes sense, Baka.
Not gonna let you. I'm just gonna send you videos of gameplay of it.
Yes, please do.
I'm just gonna ignore it. No big deal.
Yes, I want to see that battle on Twitter. Please
I'll
make that
disguise
happen.
it as BTS videos, so you
Right.
click on it and be like,
That's way more effort on your part than it needs to be.
Yeah, it is. That's a lot of effort. Not just for her to
But
open
it's
it up, and
funny.
be like, "Oh, this isn't what it is," and close it. Not even
It's like
watch
that's
it.
gonna be Baka's version of Rickrolling me. Is he's gonna try to figure out ways to disguise that content as BTS content, so that when I click it, I'm like, "Oh no, not again!" And then somewhere in the back, Rick Astley starts singing, and I'm like, "Seriously, though."
See, and if he's smart about it, he'll actually post BTS stuff every once in a while too.
Then throw
so
me
that
off
way
the
you
track.
never know.
Oh,
then-
Never know
then
when
you
it's gonna happen.
lulled into false sense of security.
for first few videos are like real, and then after that, just randomly every once in a while, it's just
Yeah,
more
I
Aquaman
don't,
gameplay videos.
I don't think that you're gonna manage that, but you know, more than welcome to try it.
Too funny. Anything else we want to talk about?
I'm still playing Red Dead on my YouTube. We're on part 75 million. I hope that you've enjoyed this time investment with me.
You're 56 hours in, 60 hours in now?
They're in half-hour increments, just about.
Okay,
So
it's 30
technically,
hours.
I'm like around the 25-30 hour mark.
Okay.
So
Not too bad.
This, I mean, seriously though, at least if Rockstar is not going to give you DLC for the single player stuff, the single player stuff is like super long already. But oh man, some of the stuff that happens this week, we're in the Final Fantasy part of the game, so yeah, story content that makes me gasp and maybe cry.
Do you cry on the air?
I've tried really hard not to so far, but
Oh.
I know there's gonna be like a couple of parts where that's gonna be a real struggle bus. So if you enjoy
Struggle
watching me
bus.
cry, then you better start committing the time now to catch up.
Those upvotes are coming soon.
Yeah, right? More crying. Click, click, click. More crying.
Quickly.
That's gonna be my whole channel eventually, is just me sobbing. People are gonna be like, take my money.
Good, you can play Last of Us. Let's see what else we got. Oh, too funny. Anything else? Everybody good?
Yep.
Chicken just
We
wants to go
appreciate
watch
it.
the Lions game.
No, it's over.
He wants
It's
to
over.
go look at their Lions Reddit, is what he wants to do now.
I already have that open too.
That's why he's been distracted. Carry on.
We appreciate everyone that hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Grif.
At Grif Slineham.
Check out Chicken.
LD Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Grif's YouTube channel, where currently she's playing through Red Dead Redemption 2. As she said, please watch her die. Please watch her cry. That's that's her new motto.
It is.
I'm sorry, Mr. Man. Still one of my favorites ever. So good. Can't wait for Last of Us 2, because I'm hoping that they have that capability for you to crash a horse.
Please no.
Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/EliteChicken313. Chicken, you got WoW all this week?
Overwatch tonight and then WoW for the rest of the week.
Yeah, we gotta get the Lego
They gotta
Bastion
get the-
skin.
That when it fires, the little Lego planes shoot out.
Cute.
That's great. That's great. Also, make sure you go to mixer.com/IntoBeOaktree, where I am on Sunday through Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday as well. We're currently, tonight, I'll be playing through, actually start Children of Morta tonight. And then Mondays, of course, is Minecraft, and then Tuesday and Thursday, we'll be doing more Greedfall. For Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
Bucket.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.